Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Westley Johnson, and whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we're always glad you're here with us. Now, we have an amazing show for you today as we look at some of the top stories in health and wellness for another Wellness Wednesday. You know, it's important for us that we provide you with news and information that you can use to create and maintain your highest quality life. So let's get to our first story. Multiple sclerosis, or MS, is an unpredictable disorder that can cause a variety of symptoms, which for many can flare up and then subside over a course of days, months, or even years. Now, while MS is not contagious, its causes are not yet fully understood, and researchers continue to search for answers. Now, here in the United States, March is MS Awareness Month, where organizations around the nation bring more focus on the more than 2.3 million people diagnosed with this disease. This is also a time to bring new information about strategies and treatments of MS. In fact, there's evidence that a cure could be coming in the near future. Let's learn more about this from the SciShow YouTube channel.
Multiple sclerosis is a debilitating disease that can cause all kinds of nasty symptoms like vision loss, fatigue, and loss of mobility. And for many years, the cause of this disease was totally unknown, and doctors could really only tackle the symptoms as they came up, kind of whack-a-mole style. Thankfully, we now know what causes MS, and knowing the cause of a thing is by far the best path to a cure, right? Except that the cause in this case is a virus that nearly everyone gets, and every attempt to develop a vaccine for that virus has failed. All that said, will we ever find a cure for MS? Yeah, but also no, but also probably. Let me explain. Multiple sclerosis affects around 3 million people worldwide, and while MS often causes disability, it's rarely fatal. People often experience muscle weakness and spasms, vision problems, dizziness, and other symptoms. And the disease will progress differently in different people. For example, in relapsing remitting MS, symptoms will occur in the form of attacks, between which everything is mostly okay. Meanwhile, in the various progressive forms of the disease, symptoms will worsen steadily over time. And while the underlying cause was a mystery for ages, we have known the basic mechanism of what's causing those symptoms for a while. MS causes the immune system to attack a specific part of the nerve cells called myelin. That myelin surrounds neurons of the central nervous system and both protects the nerves and helps them transmit signals faster. And when those neurons lose their myelin and get sent out of whack, movement and coordination gets a whole lot trickier. But why the immune system does this has been a harder question. For a while, researchers had begun to suspect the root cause might be Epstein-Barr virus, or EBV, the virus that causes infectious mononucleosis, aka mono, aka that really bad sore throat that you got after making out with your lab partner in high school. And while mono can be a serious infection right when you get it, researchers are only recently learning how it relates to MS. New research has helped us be just about as sure as scientists can be that EBV is connected to MS. And we'll get to why they're so confident about that in a second. But there's a puzzle that no one has really solved yet, and it has to do with just how common EBV is. About 95% of people get infected with EBV at some point in their lives, but only 0.04% of the population develops MS. So there's definitely something else that we're missing here. Like if 95% of people ate cheeseburgers and 0.04% of them developed a rare cheeseburger-induced disease, doctors would be looking for more specific things those people had in common long before they blamed the cheeseburgers. Maybe it's in the toppings bar or something. Still, the suspicion around a link between EBV and MS was strong enough that one group of researchers decided to pull blood samples from 10 million US service members to trace the connection. And the sample needed to be that big because MS is so rare that under 1,000 people in that entire sample actually had it. But they got what they needed, and the researchers were basically able to show things always happening in the following order. First, an individual's blood would test positive positive for EBV. And then they would develop markers that suggested nerve damage without showing MS symptoms, and then they'd start showing MS symptoms. And they were able to show that no other variable accounted for the emergence of MS. So once they knew for sure that EBV was the underlying cause of MS, scientists rushed to work out exactly how it does that. And efforts are ongoing, but it seems to be at least partly a result of the immune system trying to chase down EBV and getting a little confused along the way. A 2023 study in the journal Science Advances showed that there's actually a good reason for this confusion. The researchers demonstrated that in some MS patients, immune cells are capable of targeting both an EBV protein called EBNA1 and a myelin protein called CRYAB. Probably because EBNA1 and CRYAB have a short segment that's literally identical. So those poor immune cells are just doing their job of keeping EBV under control. They can't help that they just happen to stick to an identical sequence that we happen to be using, not just the virus. When you put it all together, it seems to go like this. EBV infects antibody-producing immune cells called B cells, and a different kind of immune cell called T cells try to shut down that infection. But they end up targeting myelin instead, which means that treatments aimed at either the infected B cells or the overactive T cells might help to tamp down symptoms of MS. A lot of the current treatment strategies are aimed at slowing down these immune cells. There are fortunately a bunch of options, and we'll include a good summary in the video description, but in brief, steroids can tamp down the severity of an ongoing attack by dampening the immune response, antibody-based treatments target immune cells directly and slow down their response, and other types of medications may reduce the frequency of MS attacks. It's great for MS patients that all those things exist, but if the cause is a virus and we vaccinate against that virus, MS goes away forever, right? Well, yes, but the problem is that EBV is a stubborn piece of something I can't say here. It's not like they haven't tried to vaccinate against the thing, but for a virus, EBV is ridiculously complex. It infects multiple types of cells, has a life cycle that takes place in multiple phases, and it even has multiple layers to its structure. Just picking the right part of the virus to try to vaccinate against has been a struggle. For example, a lot of efforts have targeted a molecule called GP350 on the surface of the virus, but none of them have been approved. One of the most successful candidates was abandoned when it turned out to prevent the symptoms of mono, but not infection with the virus. Although some researchers have suggested that this one's worth another look. After all, since MS is caused by our immune system going too far, and the vaccine tamps down the immune system's response to EBV, that might be enough. Other vaccine candidates include GP350 alongside other proteins, and an mRNA vaccine that incorporates a couple of different sequences is in trials at the time we're writing this video. Of course, even if we had a working vaccine in hand, for it to truly stop MS, we'd have to get that vaccine to everybody. And a discussion of how hard that would be is kind of a video on its own, but trust me, it's hard. But here's the good news. A vaccine isn't the only thing we can do here. One theoretical treatment approach could be to target those confused T cells we talked about earlier. Or you could target the B cells where EBV likes to hang out. There's one approved drug called ocrelizumab that already does that. And we can always just try throwing some good old antiviral drugs at the problem. So what I'm trying to say here is there are options. It might be cheesy to say that knowledge is power, but in this case, it's even more true than usual. To explain what I said in the beginning, will we ever cure MS? Well, yes, because we know the cause, but no, because we may never eradicate EBV, but probably because we have a lot of other options to pursue going forward.
Wow, fascinating information, right? Listen, if you want more information about MS and how you can support it, or if you want just information itself to find out about the disease, we welcome you to go to the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation. Online, they have a lot of great information that is there. Also, we did a show yesterday on Tuesday that featured Marcy Miller, who's the CEO and founder of pureplacid.com. She shared her experience of her and her husband going through the process of being diagnosed with MS, and then their journey and transformation and evolution to where they are today as they partnered through his condition. It's a really fascinating story. We're going to put the link in our chat so that you can go watch that. But I highly recommend that you go watch that show. Also, go check out pureplacid.com because they're actually selling a candle right now where all proceeds that are raised from selling that candle go to MS research and support. So listen, we're going to take a quick break, but we've got more of Soulivity Today coming up in about 2 minutes. So we'll be right back. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Hey, we are back with more here on Soulivity Today as we look at some of the top stories in health and wellness for another fabulous Wellness Wednesday. Listen, we want to remind all of you that you can find out more information about everything that Soulivity is doing by following us on social media. We're on all the major platforms from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter to Threads and even YouTube. Make sure you follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube because you'll know every time that we go live. By doing so, also, you can download the Soulivity Today podcast on any major podcast provider, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts as well. Listen, let's get back to our stories. Across the globe, March is a time to celebrate the history and legacy of women and their many achievements that benefit humanity for International Women's Day, Women's Month, I should say. One aspect of their legacy is providing much needed care and support for friends and family. In fact, in the caregiving industry, 75% of caregivers are women, according to the Family Caregiving Alliance. Now, here's more about these fabulous women from KPRC2 Click to Houston in Houston, Texas.
Today is the first day of International Women's Month. As we celebrate the accomplishments of women, let's applaud the women who provide us with care. 75% of caregivers are women. This is according to Family Caregiver Alliance. Deborah Ann Nixon and Joanne Goody Charles, founder and president of Nixon Home Care, are here with us this morning. Thank you both so much for your time. We appreciate it. First, I want you to tell us about Nixon Home Care.
Okay, so Nixon Home Care is a nonprofit organization that was founded by myself, and we provide long-term care, which is adult daycare, as well as assisted living for the elderly, disabled, as well as veterans.
And so, to be clear, this is not a nursing home.
Absolutely, it's not a nursing home. So we have individuals that come through the course of the day. So if you need to drop your loved one off, we offer transportation. We can pick them up and then we take them back, or you can pick them up in the afternoons or when you get off.
Really an environment for them to continue to thrive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When we talk about being a caregiver, and when you hear that statistic, 75% of caregivers are women, are you surprised by that number?
Joanne.
No, absolutely, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because we as women, we're nurturers, so that is a natural position for us to be in, to provide care for our loved ones. And quite frankly, it's an expectation that we as women will provide care for our loved ones.
That's been passed down from generation to generation. I will say, though, I do want to give a shout out to my father. My father in my family has always been the caregiver for his parents and his grandparents. And so it is interesting to see that role be reversed in some situations. But majority of caregivers are women. When we talk about being a caregiver, what does it really mean to do that type of work, to provide that sense of care?
Basically, it's a position where you as a caregiver provide not only the love and attention that your loved one needs, but also the physical needs, the medical needs, which can be quite extensive and quite demanding. So you have to have patience along with love and kindness and all those things that are required of you as a caregiver. And sometimes you have to be in a position to stop and take a deep breath because you're giving so much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And not just, you know, yes, you have the physical component too, but oftentimes you're dealing with a lot of mental well-being and health and things that you don't see, you know, which can be challenging, but also very rewarding.
Very much.
To be a caregiver and to be able to provide that care to perhaps someone who once took care of you, who nurtured you, is the best gift you can give back to them.
Yes, I think so. What you're saying, that the sandwich generation, you know, you're taking care of your children, and then you're taking care of someone that you stated that used to take care of you. So it's the love that we give back to that individual.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about the educational symposium you have. What it is, where it is, how people can participate.
Okay, so on tomorrow, March the 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, we will have a caregiver symposium trying to teach individuals how to take care of oneself first, because we're so used to taking care of everyone else that we saw a need to say, hey, stop for a moment, put the oxygen mask on oneself first, just like they tell us on the
airplane, right?
Yes, before you could take care of someone else. So it's at 3719 Linfield Street. And you can call 713-419-2653 to get more information.
You know, that's a really great reminder, because if you're not taking care of yourself properly and adequately, you're not going to be able to take care of someone else in the way they deserve.
Yes, it's so
important. And so
important.
you owe it to yourself to be in tip-top shape.
Yes.
Because it's tough work. It's a lot. It can be a lot.
Self-help first.
Self-help first.
Yes.
Well, we most appreciate both of your time this morning. Thank you so much for coming in.
So I guess everyone out there should be giving their loved ones, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their sisters, and all their female friends some love today for International Women's Month. You can find more information about events in your area by going to your local newspaper, because I'm sure that there's things going on. Listen, let's get to our next story. Here in the U.S., March is also Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. In fact, it is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States, as well as the deadliest cancer among men under 50. Now, according to the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, early detection and screening is key to treating it before it becomes deadly. Now, here's more about this disease from WHNT News 19.
Colorectal cancer often develops silently without symptoms. In 2024 alone, an estimated 153,000 people in the U.S. will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and an estimated 53,000 will die from it.
That making this disease the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S., as well as the deadliest cancer among men under the age of 50. So joining us now to talk more about preventative measures is board-certified colorectal and general surgeon Dr. Cedric McFadden, and patient and vocal proponent of colorectal cancer screening, Amishi Shah. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So Dr. Cedric, does colorectal cancer have symptoms that we can watch out for?
So there are some, and those are the ones that you might think about with your gut. Belly pain, changes in your bowel habits, fatigue, maybe unexplained weight loss. You could also see some rectal bleeding. But colorectal cancer may not come with symptoms. And in many cases, if there are no symptoms, that can delay the diagnosis, which is why it's important that people get screened and why we've partnered with Colorectal Cancer Alliance, because we don't want people to wait for these symptoms. We want people to get screened. So that's what we're talking about, getscreened.org, so that people can get the help they need and hopefully prevent this cancer.
So Dr. McFadden, when and how should people get checked for colorectal cancer, and why did the age change from 50 to 45?
Yeah, it was probably around 2017, or just before then, we were seeing so many people in their 20s and 30s and 40s coming in with colorectal cancer in these advanced stages. And so before it used to be 50, that shifted. Hopefully it's going to get out more that 45 is the new 50. And there are lots of options that you can do, from colonoscopies to FIT testing to even DNA-based tests. So that's why if you go to getscreened.org, you'll see all the options. You'll be taken through a very easy to maneuver quiz that's going to tell you not only what tests you should have done, but when you should do that test and how often you should do that test to make sure you're doing everything that's right for your health.
Amishi, if you don't mind, tell us the story of your colorectal cancer diagnosis, and how did your diagnosis make you such a vocal proponent of colorectal cancer screening altogether?
Well, I don't have a family history of colorectal cancer, so I was busy living life, and I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I noticed some bleeding in my stool in my late 40s, but ignored it for a few months. Finally, I went to my family doctor. I got the FIT test. It was positive for blood in my stool. And then I was referred to another doctor to get my screening colonoscopy. When I got the results of that, my whole family was shocked. I was diagnosed with stage 3B rectal cancer, and through treatment with chemo, radiation, and surgery, after losing 2 body parts, I now live with the consequences of treatment. So I know exactly how important it is to be screened. I wish I would have been screened early. I wish I would have taken the initiative to screen early. And I know today that there is a great resource called getscreened.org, where you can take a quiz that you can talk about with your physician so that you can get screened at the right time.
And Dr. McFadden, how preventable is colorectal cancer with early screening?
It's quite preventable. Cancers start from small polyps, which are in the lining of the large intestines. So through a colonoscopy, through regular screening, we can find these polyps, we can remove that polyp, and there's no cancer that can develop because it's now gone. It's that preventable. But we got to get people to get to us to get the test done, which is why we're so excited just for your time to just let people know this is an easy test, they're easy programs, and it's an easy process. Getscreened.org to help us get the information that we need.
Dr. McFadden, Amishi, thanks again for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll have even more of Soulivity Today for a Wellness Wednesday in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Would you like to be one of the first people to experience mental freedom? Mental freedom is a coaching practice with 6 core principles: improving hope, self-efficacy, optimism, resilience, and general well-being. Mental freedom only takes 6 sessions. It is designed to give you the tools you need to help yourself. It can help with any situation: relationship problems, past trauma, career decisions, parenting challenges, addiction, and mental health concerns. Incorporating the mental freedom framework into your life will deliver an approach to master any situation and a pathway toward achieving inner peace. Mental freedom provides the information and tools that you need to grow and be bigger than anything that ever happens to you. So if you're looking for one-on-one or a group coaching program that will allow you to address any situation that comes up in your life with practical tools to give you more peace and joy, then join the Mental Freedom Program in Soulivity's Aspire Academy. There are very limited spots available, so don't delay. I hope to see you there.
Learn more about mental freedom by going to soulivity.com. Teresa Mental Freedom.
6 years ago when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit soulivity.com now.
Hey, we're back with more here on Soulivity today as we look at some of the top stories in health and wellness for another Wellness Wednesday. Let's get to our next story. Now, here in America, the battle for women's reproductive rights spans across the nation. Judicial fights over abortion, contraception, and most recently, in vitro fertilization or IVF have taken over the media airwaves on a consistent basis. But across the pond, women in France are celebrating as it becomes the first country in the world to enshrine abortion in its constitution as a guaranteed constitutional right. Let's learn more about this development from DW News in Germany.
To France, which has become the first country to make abortion a guaranteed constitutional right. There was overwhelming public support for the initiative. Abortion rights activists and supporters gathered in central Paris to celebrate as lawmakers overwhelmingly passed the measure. Abortion has been legal in France since 1975, and the constitutional change was prompted by the US Supreme Court removing the right to abortion in 2022. Let's get more from our correspondent, Lisa Louis in Paris. Welcome, Lisa. Was there any doubt about whether this would pass?
Well, not today, Phil, really. It was quite clear that senators and the members of the National Assembly would largely vote in favour of enshrining this, this freedom, this guaranteed freedom into the Constitution. However, this is the end of an 18-month legal process that started in summer 2022, and there were in the beginning several initiatives by opposition parties from the left, first of all, to do such a move. And the first wordings of these initiatives, so the right to abortion, were rejected by the Senate, the lower house of Parliament, where you have a right-wing majority. And then over the months, this topic really changed, and more people, more and more politicians were talking about, until finally it was clear that there needed to be another vote, and the government came into the picture and said, oh no, okay, let's negotiate on the exact wording of this new right. And now, as I said, what will be enshrined in the Constitution is the guaranteed right for women to have an abortion. And so finally, those in the Senate who felt a bit like they could vote maybe in favor, so we're not completely against that, enshrining this into the Constitution, they voted in favor of this initiative. And now we had this overwhelming majority today in the Congress in Versailles, where the government brought together the National Assembly and the Senate in favor of this initiative.
And why? Abortion has been legal in France since the 1970s. Why put it into the Constitution?
Well, that's a very fair question. And, you know, before summer 2022, when, as you mentioned, the US Supreme Court overturned the constitutional right in the US to have an abortion, this was really very much an insider's topic. Feminists were talking about that, but many people felt we have the right, we have a law saying that you can have an abortion in France. We don't need to enshrine this into the Constitution. But then, when that happened in the US, it felt, as some people here put it, like an electroshock. And so people realized that actually that could be taken away from women. And that's when all this was set in motion. This comes obviously to the backdrop of European elections that are happening in June this year, and with the far right predicted to come first in the polls according to pollsters, and also a general rise of the far right. And far right parties are known, to be conservative, sometimes reactionary, and sometimes willing to go against, to take back women's rights. And so there was rising concern amongst politicians from the left, obviously, from the center, but also from the center right, that maybe it was a good idea to enshrine this in the Constitution. Also, because here in France there's a presidential election looming 2027, and pollsters are no longer excluding that the far right could come first in these presidential elections.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Lisa Lewis in Paris.
Wow, interesting that they enshrined abortion rights into their constitution in France after the Supreme Court here removed those rights. So we're going to stay close to this story, and maybe other countries are going to follow suit in Europe. So we'll bring it here on Soulivity Today when that happens. According to experts, the #1 barrier to accessing mental health care in communities of color is stigma. In fact, only 26% of Black and Hispanic men between the ages of 18 and 44 who experienced daily feelings of anxiety or depression were likely to have used mental health services. That's compared with 45% of non-Hispanic white men with the same feelings. Now, some are even calling mental health stigma amongst Black men an epidemic. Let's learn more about this from 19 News in Cleveland.
For generations, mental health.
Well, earlier this month, I spoke with 2 Black men who were in Cleveland as part of their city-to-city tour called Just Heal Bro. It's all part of creating a safe space for other Black men to speak up and heal their minds.
I think for the work that we're doing is helping brothers to understand that they're not alone.
Feeling helpless and silenced. That was family therapist Dr. Jay Barnett in the early 2000s. His lowest point ended in not 1, but 2 attempts to take his life. Fortunately for Dr. Barnett, he survived, but the number of Black men and suicide rates are staggering. According to 2018 stats from the Department of Health and Human Services, the death rate from suicide for Black men was 4 times greater than Black women. Part of the problem, according to Dr. Barnett, is the history of black men being encouraged not to show emotion.
To sort of demystify this stigma around, that we have to be so stoic and that we can, just take pain and that we can just take the trauma and just take everything and keep it bottled up.
Several factors come into play. The history of mistrust in doctors, not just among black men, but African Americans in general. And the lack of male black therapists. In 2018, the American Psychological Association cites 2% of psychiatrists and 4% of psychologists in the U.S. are black.
I think it begins with our relationship with the healthcare system. We are looking at a epidemic that no one has ever seen, with the suicide rate steadily increasing amongst black boys and black men. So there are not enough clinicians, and there are not enough therapists.
Let's be clear that this is not a narrative that all black men are broken.
Actor Layman Rutger is an advocate for mental health among black men. He teamed up with Dr. Barnett and the 3 other panelists on the tour to help defeat the stereotypes.
Even if the man is damaged, if that man does his work, his son will be further along, in his positive development. If you didn't have it, for you to learn what's important so that you can, share it and give it to your peers.
As a father of 3 boys, how do we communicate with young boys?
It's uncles, it's teachers that we know, it's coaches, it's other men in the community. There are countless examples of what positive, imaging looks like.
Boys have to see it. We're visual. I think they have to see men actually saying, I don't have the answers, and that's okay. I need help, and I'm going to go get help. That's the best form of communication, is for it to be modeled out.
From silence and helplessness to finding a safe space to talk through feelings and emotions. It's something today's black man is recognizing and embracing, shedding past fears and ridicule, and opening up to new possibilities of engaging in dialogue, all for the sake of sanity.
We are Black history, right? Black history is in the making. All of that happened before, it's also part of us. It's in our DNA. Those spirits, those ancestors that were here before, their lives, their brilliance, their magnificence, it's embodied in all of us. So all of the past is here, but some of the past can be left behind us. The best of what was there is still here through us. We are the present, and the work that we do now will impact what happens in the future.
Such an important story on mental health. If you're feeling the need that you need some mental health services, or you have a loved one that needs mental health services, reach out to the National Association of Mental Health, Mental Illness. That's NAMI, NAMI .org. They have plenty of resources. They even have a hotline that's available 24/7. Listen, we're going to take a short break, but we'll be back with more Soulivity today and our last Wellness Wednesday story in just a second.
The Satana products at our Go shop at go.soulivity.com.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion. Feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture, that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Well, hello there. We're back here with more on Soulivity today as we look at some of the top stories in health and wellness for another Wellness Wednesday. Now, if you're like me, you love spicy food. I mean, I have to have food that is full of flavor and bold taste. Well, there is new information that is good news to those who cook with spice. And I'm loving this. I know my wife loving this too. There may be health benefits, which when you kick up the flavor, you're going to benefit it with your body. So let's learn more about this from Fox 8 News in Cleveland.
All right, welcome back. We are solving the world's problems.
Right.
Also, we know adding spices is the best way to get your food some flavor, but did you know that they are also chock full of healthy compounds as well? So with us today is Beth Zeroni. Got it right. Registered dietitian with the Cleveland Clinic. It is National
Nutrition Month.
Hug your dietitian.
That's right.
Hug her hard. So welcome. It's good to see you again.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm so excited.
This is fun to kind of think about because I don't think we know sometimes what to do with certain spices.
Absolutely.
They're all in the cabinet, right? They look pretty, but what do we do with it?
When we're looking at health overall, the three things that most people want to control in their diet: sugar, fat, and salt.
Yes.
The beautiful thing is these spices can help you to eliminate or decrease the amount that you put in your diet.
And you can just use that spice?
Exactly. And you can use a combination. Whatever you want. This is the beautiful thing. You can do whatever you want, however you want to do it.
So what are we looking at? Like, what are the main nutrients
So
in
the
these
main
spices?
nutrients, so what we find is that they have these phytonutrients, these polyphenols, big fancy words, right?
You can use it.
But it helps decrease inflammation. And inflammation is something that everybody has. It's part of stress. It's part of environment, but it causes health conditions. And the ones that we most often see, high blood sugars and high blood pressures that increase our chances for getting heart disease, stroke, heart attacks, those types of things. So implementing these types of spices, and again, decreasing the sugars and the fats and the salt, you're going to get not only the health benefits of these compounds individually, but then the added benefit that the diet itself is going to improve.
So you only brought 1, 2, 3, 5.
I brought 5 because.
So are these the top 5 or something?
These are the 5 of my favorites.
Okay.
So, and these are things that people should not be scared of, and they're probably very familiar with them. I mean, things like cinnamon, which has been shown time and time again, really nice, robust studies showing about blood sugar improvements with people that have type 2 diabetes, right? We have things like curry, little spicy. So if you want, people often will say, I don't want to do spices because they're spicy, they're heat.
Oh, I love that.
Exactly, but not everybody does.
Exactly.
Right? So curry, if you have things like ginger, those are going to have those spices. The heat.
Also, ginger, they have those in the lollipops and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, there's other ways to get it in there.
Absolutely.
Right?
And ginger, you put it in baking. Most often people see it in baking, right? But you can put it in savory dishes. This has been known to show help with, of course, GI, right? Nausea, but also migraines. And then we've got the curry, which is that beautiful yellow color that'll stain everything.
Did you mention coriander?
Coriander, and the funny thing is, if people didn't know this, coriander is the seed from the cilantro plant.
I love cilantro.
So so this is lemony, and then of course garlic. Everybody's super familiar with garlic, but again, these have heart health benefits. They're going to decrease your blood pressure.
And don't replace your medication. I mean, talk to your doctor first. Like, this is just add-on stuff.
Anytime you want to do anything, you need to talk to your doctor.
Yes, right.
Because sometimes things like turmeric actually have blood thinning properties, and so you don't want to interfere with any kind of medication. So you gotta have a conversation with the doc. Really important.
All right, what else did you bring?
So what I brought is, so a lot of times.
Did you? Oh, this is just.
So this is just the whole version of things.
Which one is that?
This is ginger. So here.
I knew that.
Smell that.
Oh. Ooh.
Isn't that wonderful? So if you want.
That smells like ginger tea.
I know. So you can use this. You can actually put this in water and make ginger tea.
Really?
Exactly.
You don't have to get the packet.
You don't have to do all that other
Okay.
kind
I'm
of
gonna
stuff.
tell Todd. He's a big tea drinker.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
So again, when we're looking at overall health, we're trying to improve our diet. Sometimes we do little salty snackies.
Yes, I love salty snackies,
I love snackies
especially
too.
when we're binging, right?
Exactly.
With our
So
favorite show.
What did I do? I took this whole spice mix, same thing, and added it to roasted garbanzo beans.
Can I try it?
Absolutely. Roasted almonds. You can control how much salt, if any.
Garbanzo beans has an interesting texture.
It does. Only a dietitian would love, right? No. And some almonds as well. But you can, this is just ways if you're thinking about trying to improve your diet.
That's good.
Without having, again, this doesn't have any salt on it, but you could, right?
Yeah, but you don't need it.
Exactly.
Now I know you don't need it.
You don't need it, so.
That's good. I just want to
Go ahead.
Okay.
So, right, so again, taking the same flavor profile, making it into a dip for the kids.
Is this
or a
okay
salad
to do
dressing.
like every day?
You sure could, absolutely.
Every day
And
have
here's the
these-
thing, if you're kind of scared and said, I don't really know what to do, they have lovely pre-made spice mixes that you can use that have low salt or no salt.
Okay.
So don't think that you have to just do it all on your own.
Yeah.
You can certainly go to the library, get a cookbook.
Yes, one of those. You know, cookbook. They open.
They open
You read
and
left
they have,
or right.
and you can modify it, right? But if you want to start off fresh and you don't really want to experiment, go ahead to the store and get some salt-free ones. But again, dip that you can do.
Now you mentioned this is good for the kids.
This is good.
Before we went on, this is why we got caught talking on air, is because how do you get the kids to eat stuff? And you said, quote, don't make it a thing.
Don't make it a thing. Just give it to them. They're hungry, they're going to eat it, right?
That's what you're going to eat. That's all we have in the house.
So this is plain, non-fat Greek yogurt with a little bit of lemon juice and the same spices.
Ooh, that's delicious.
Now you take it, make it into a salad dressing.
Oh my gosh.
So I took a dry rub, same spices.
Okay.
Marinated the chicken breast. You can air fry it, grill it, bake it, whatever you want to do. And now you have the same spices all the way across the board.
We have learned, this is the most I've ever been educated on spices.
I love it.
I didn't know I could do so much with it.
Absolutely.
Okay, all the information and the tips will be on our website, fox8.com. Beth, you're fantastic.
Oh, no, I'm so glad to be here.
No, this is really great. This is really great. You did a great job.
National Nutrition Month. Hug your dietitian.
Hug your dietitian. All right.
Hug your dietitian, everybody. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more of Soulivity Today in just a second. Hi there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion. I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life. Well, I hope you enjoyed our Soulivity Today show for Wellness Wednesday. This is how we do it Monday through Fridays right here on Soulivity TV for our Soulivity Today show, where we're bringing you news and information and topics that you can use to create your best life today. Listen, just a couple of more items and then we're going to get out of here. Just want to remind everybody that we've got some great new articles on our website at soulivity.com. We've been posting some of those in our live feeds, one including a new astrology with Sonia Francis, where she's talking about the supermoon in Pisces. You can find that right on our homepage at soulivity.com. Also, another couple of great stories for you. One is 4 ways to unwind after a stressful day at work. So I know a lot of you out there, when you're going through your day, listen, we need some advice to help de-stress ourselves at home once we get home from work. So this is another great article. And another one in our travel section around 5 must-see natural wonders around the world. I know I'm going to be adding these to my bucket list, so maybe you want to do the same. Also, want to remind you, too, to follow us on social media. This is a great way to get tips and tips about how to do things, how to live a better life. Also, information about live events and other things that are happening with Soulivity. We're on all the major platforms. Also, you want to make sure that you're going to download all of our latest episodes from Soulivity Today at your latest podcast providers, such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're on all the major platforms, so go check that out today. Listen, running out of time, but just want to say thank you to all of you out there for supporting Soulivity Today and Soulivity.com. Want to just let you know that we really appreciate it. We want you to come back and fill your cup with things that are inspirational and motivational so that you can keep moving forward in your life. That's what we do here. Also, just want to remind you to watch our other Soulivity TV shows. We've got Consciously Awesome Living every Wednesday at 12 noon, The Steps to Happiness on Thursdays at 12 noon, and then on Mondays, the new and improved Tammy's Table with our own Tammy Gaines at 12 noon on Mondays. All times are Eastern. Also, want to remind you that this show broadcasts at 8 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, on our fabulous radio partner, KMET 1490 AM radio out in Southern California, where my family is. Listen, again, this is how we do it Monday through Friday right here on Soulivity Today. Appreciate you being here. We'll be back doing this same show next week, same time. Go to our YouTube channel, remind yourself to sign up and do that, because listen, this is all about your passion and your purpose and creating a higher quality life today. So until next time, this is Brian Westley Johnson saying thank you for being here again, and we out of here.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.